that? Usually it sounds like one of those terrorist groups that trying to push people across it.
We turned to professors on campus to explain the lack of knowledge on the part of students, and we sought their advice on how to become better informed.
There is, because they are very individualistic, they care about their everyday life and what they have to do to earn money and to live, so they're not very much interested in knowing what's going on. If this subject becomes, it hits their pockets as it's happening now, people really start learning why is this happening. But unfortunately, the media and the way it covers what's going on in the world and just shows them what they need to see, focusing on mortgages, for example, focusing on the price of gasoline and their daily lives, instead of looking at the big picture. So that they only want to live day by day with what they care about. So yeah, unless you bring it in as becomes a major issue on TV, human rights, see what's going on, but I doubt this would happen.
We see an effort to not discuss this, and thus it's no surprise that people are ignorant of the issues.
Statement. So you as students should be aware of what's going on, should learn about the region. It does not mean that you would accept all what you listen, but to respect it and understand it. And based on this, then you can start talking about dialogue and helping the people who are there, because they are the people who are suffering. I don't know what we are suffering here from this, other than we are being involved in conflicts we have nothing to do with, in terms of paying the price for effective decision making for the interests of very few people in this government. So now students will know, and as you've noticed that this year the political campaigning is a movement more than just a campaign. People are moved with what's going on because they felt the burden of the war we are involved in, whether it's Israeli-Palestinian conflict or the Iraq war. The price we are paying is very high. So you students, you are the next generation. If this generation does not understand what the next generation of decision makers, if you do not know what we are doing now, what the problems are, and learn from it so we can avoid it next, later, then there's a major problem. So definitely students should be at the forefront of this.
All the different competing ideologies and the way it's framed, because say nationalists, for example, will frame it different than other people who might put it like myself in terms of a class analysis, raise questions about imperialism. So, they should read the Palestinian national narrative, the Israeli national narrative, and then they should read what you could call the dissident literature.
Definitely. I am for students to sponsor events and to be their point of view. I am against any outside or external pressures on that. I would like them to voice their opinion freely.
Do you think that the events students put on campus are effective or necessary in order to get students to listen and get involved?
Well, I think putting on events is really seem to be a necessary step, particularly if these issues are not discussed widely in the courses that are taught, or as a means of bringing in different perspectives. So it would seem logical that students and professors and staff should promote events on political issues such as Israeli-Palestinian conflict that go beyond what is done in the classroom and bring in outside speakers.
In any conflict, suffering occurs on both sides, and the life of an Israeli is just as valuable as the life of a Palestinian. However, in this particular conflict, there is a gross disparity in the amount of suffering that occurs between the two sides.
I believe Palestine is more valuable, but they show more
of Israel's.
It's kind of, well, I'm not actually sure because I don't think I have clear-cut numbers of which side.
The kifaya, or hatta, worn by the Palestinians as a sign of resistance, is now worn as the latest fashion trend under the guise of a peace scarf. However, when students around campus were asked why they wore them, many were unaware of the symbolism and deeper meaning a simple piece of cloth actually held.
Original country, probably Afghanistan.
Because of the weather, it's cold.
I wear it because it is fashionable.
The conflict hits closer to home to many students attending UC Irvine. For Palestinian students on campus who have family in the occupied territories, every day brings a new struggle.
There were crazy checkpoints. I got stuck at a checkpoint with my aunt is diabetic, and she had not been able to travel to the city for 2 weeks to get her insulin. So at that point, she's like, we have to go. So we went in, and on our way back, people were saying, oh, just stay in the city tonight. They're not going to let you go home to your villages. They're going to close the checkpoint. We have nobody in the city. We're village people. There's nowhere for us to stay. So we get to the checkpoint, and literally, they closed it off for 8 hours. By the end of 8 hours, I would say there was probably about 500 to 700 people gathered at that checkpoint, with one small, tiny shack to cover 500 to 800 people from the hot sun. Like, you guys have never been to Palestine. It's really hot there in the summer, and this was the summer. There was no water, there was no shade, no bathrooms, nothing. We were stuck. You couldn't go back to the city because no cars could drive back to the city, and you couldn't get to the village because you were stuck. So in the end, the Israeli army came. There were jeeps. They were pointing guns at us. Some of the men started obviously getting really frustrated. There were people started chanting, and we basically rushed the checkpoint, which means that like men and women started running towards the checkpoint. And I guess because obviously they've been through it before. I've never been through that before, so I had no idea what the heck we were doing. I was just following them. So we rushed the checkpoint, and then all of a sudden, the jeeps rushed towards us, and soldiers got out with their guns and started pointing guns at us, so that everyone started yelling, we were back to the checkpoint, and then we kept doing it again until eventually we made it over. And that over process was like 6 hours long. In that process, they threw sound bombs at us, which is something that I've only seen on in movies, so you can imagine how I felt over there. And honestly, throughout that whole experience, I was just so in awe and so shocked. It's like I cannot believe that this actually still is taking place in a world that supposedly stands up for justice, and in a world that supposedly is spreading democracy, with America spreading democracy the way it is, that people can still be subjected to such conditions.
Has the Palestinian crisis affected your family?
Okay, well, to start off, both of my parents were born in Palestine, and most of my dad's immediate, actually all of my dad's immediate and extended family lives in Palestine currently. A lot of my mom's family actually moved over here. So the issue has affected me on a personal level. I mean, it's raised my awareness of issues going on there, and because of that, issues and injustices occurring all over the world, because it opens your eyes to so many injustices right everywhere. And my family, who currently lives in Palestine, I mean, I have an uncle who hasn't had a job in 5 years, and he has 5 kids. He can't provide food for his family on a daily basis. On a personal level, you can imagine for a man how it hurts him and how he feels to have no job and no way of supporting his family. Like, Israel, what they're doing to the Palestinians is not only a physical thing. They're not only occupying their lands, they're occupying every single part of their lives. They are attacking them on every level possible. And they know, Palestinians are known for their resilience. They're known to, I mean, we as a people can handle more than anything.